Hit it. And we're back, guys.
Welcome.
Ooh, a whole month almost. Well, 5 weeks now, but we skipped an episode, so it doesn't count. But hey, a month. Let's go. It's a 4th episode.
Episode month anniversary. Let's go.
1 month anniversary.
And to celebrate, we got a special guest here.
Hi.
What's your name?
Oh, wait, where's the special introduction?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, you interrupted me. I was still introducing. I want to remind you guys to please like and subscribe, comment anything that comes into mind you want to know about more everything. We had some views, some subscribers, so we're slowly but surely we're growing. So I just want to remind you, if you like the podcast, like it, subscribe, rate it on Spotify and Apple Music or Apple Podcast, please, as well. So, more people get to discover this amazing, wonderful podcast.
Exactly.
Don't forget TikTok.
And TikTok.
I'll say this real quick. Shout out to the 2 coworkers who subscribed from work. I don't know if they'll be watching this, but hey, shout out to you guys. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we have a special guest today. Her name. Actually, I'll let you say your name, your age, and everything we're gonna say. But a very special guest, very near and dear to my heart. Spectacular human being. Most amazing, most patient. Just the best person ever. The most beautiful person has ever walked the earth. We have here.
Coming from the east side of the world.
East side.
That's crazy. Hi, my name is Lucy. I'm not saying my age. And I'm here today as y'all's guest.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah.
They would say their age.
Wisdom.
I'm still stuck on from the east side of the world.
Hey, I got corrected, okay? Before starting, I said west, east. Thank you.
It all depends on how you look at the world.
West China.
It depends. Is it flat?
It is flat.
As you guys
Europe
can see,
is on the left side, not the right side.
yeah. Talking about flat Earth. As you can see, Jonah is not here with us, but he's currently at a convention with his brother Christian and some other people from church at the International Assembly of our church. So they were invited to play for the kids side of the convention. So we pray that they are, safe and make it back,
And being blessed.
yeah, and be blessed. I know they'll be blessed by seeing, all the things that they're going to talk about. So just wanted to mention that in case you were wondering where he was.
What do you mean? I'm like right here.
Oh, and we forgot to mention. Did you mention it? I don't know. Also producer.
Hi.
Oh yeah, she's a producer behind the camera. We tried to gatekeep, but I guess it didn't work out.
I said, yeah, let me gatekeep 2
It's already
episodes
too
later.
soon.
Hey,
Yeah.
can you talk because Jonah's not here?
It's okay. Special guest.
Yeah, special guest. Yeah. Today we're just gonna. I think it's a little bit more laid back episode. I would say. We're just gonna, talk about more, get to know better, and things like that. So it's not gonna be like super heavy, and the previous 2 topics that we talked about, or 3 topics that we talked about. It's just gonna be a little bit more laid back. So.
Yeah, we're not gonna condemn any people this time. We're just gonna.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh,
we're just gonna chill.
I was ready. I was ready to point.
Hey, so you actually gonna
You
help?
need
You
to go
actually
to
gonna
church.
So we're gonna do our weekly what's on rotation. So I'll go first. What you guys been having, seeing, consuming, listening to podcasts and stuff like that, or whatever you've been doing for the week. I'll start. Actually at work we had the Olympics. We watched the ceremony. We had a whole everyone got together. We got food from different places. We just sat down and then we just looked at the opening ceremony. Not a lot of people were looking at the ceremony itself. It was just mostly, free food and just talking and playing Uno. We were playing some Uno, so but yeah, I saw the Olympics. What do you guys think?
People are too comfortable making a mockery. That's what I have to say. No, I've been thinking about that all week.
Yeah, I saw it. It's kind of crazy. We literally started watching it at 12, and it started at 12:30, and then I saw Lady Gaga come down. It was kind of weird. She was singing in French. It was just like weird start. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then, later on, I went back to work. I put it on. I was like, oh, it's still going on. And then I saw some dude just like singing in French, heavy metal, and all this like other stuff. And they were floating around, just doing.
Did you get to see the horse too? Did you saw that part?
No, I didn't see it. I turned it off because I was just too creeped out about it. I was like, oh, this feels weird. Like how they were doing, like they try to sing opera and then heavy metal together, and just they were dancing on the bridge, and it was just weird. I was like, I don't like this. It feels kind of weird. And they had like a pre-shot of 3 people. I don't know if you guys saw that too. 3 people, like 2 dudes and a girl. And they were at the library and they were reading books about love and, all this other stuff. And then they went into like a room together and looked like they were going to do stuff. It was weird. I was like, I don't know about this. It felt weird, so I just turned it off. But what do you guys have seen about it?
I've only seen like clips of, because I'm more interested in the actual sports of the Olympics, not the the ceremonies and stuff. But yeah, I saw some clips of like the little remake of I guess
Supper.
The Last Supper, the food.
That's all I see in a I guess I don't know how to feel about it because me and Elvis were talking about it on Sunday. Right? It was on Sunday, right?
Yeah, I think it was on Sunday. Yeah,
when we were going to church, we were kind of talking about it on how it was like making each other, like how is it making us feel. To me, I'm kind of like in the middle of it because at the end of the day, I don't think it like how he was saying that day, it doesn't really like offend me per se, because to me, not that it's not significant, the Last Supper, but it's more like I don't know how to explain it. It's just more like
it doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect me, right? Exactly, because we were speaking about it, and it's like mockery is always going to happen. Mm-hmm. Yes, it happened in that moment, but it happens every single day, and then people don't make a big deal out of it. But now, in this sort of way, they're making a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Not to say that it isn't a big deal, because of course mockery is definitely very serious, but it's more like, this is what's going to happen as Christians, is we're going to see this day to day, and big ceremonies like this is just going to happen because not everyone is part of the faith, unfortunately. No matter how much you want them to be a part of it, there's always going to be people against it or people that have something to say negative about it. So that's just kind of like my view about it. It definitely wasn't like the most respectful thing to do towards Christians. I know also Elon Musk had something to say about that too. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet, but
no, I didn't see the tweet. What did it say?
To kind of quote it, he was like, it's kind of disgusting, he said, towards Christians about what they pulled, just because I know for a lot of Christians, the Last Supper can be viewed as very significant. So them doing that kind of like, I guess, I don't know if they were, because they're saying that they didn't do it intentionally, but I mean, there's weeks of planning. There's no way that they didn't say, oh, hey, this looks like, something relatively to religion. And they still decided to do it. So, right.
Yeah. What are your thoughts out here before I continue on mine?
I mean, I feel like he hit one of those points where it's like, okay, I don't know exactly where to stand on that part. Like, if I should be offended, I feel like I'm not really, but I do feel like them doing like mockery and stuff like that in the ceremony, is it's pretty upsetting, but I feel like in a way it's not like in our hands to be the ones trying to defend God, defend Christianism, because in a way, if someone's doing some mockery, right, in the world, and I feel like in a way they know what they're doing, because like you said, I'm pretty sure there's time in place for planning and everything. They're not doing it to us really, they're doing it to God. And I feel like in a lot of ways we have seen like different people that have like said words against God and then they have seen repercussions on themselves. I feel like in a way we don't take care of those things. It's mostly in the hands of God. I would say in that case, like I might feel a little offended, but then at the same time I feel like, okay, if they're doing something, they gotta like be careful, because they're not messing with us, they're messing with God.
Justice
Yeah.
is going to be served.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I said, like I was talking with Josue. Yeah, I mean, for me, it didn't offend me as much. I know a lot of people just like going out and screaming like, "Oh, this is, just outright. I guess Christianity is making like this big, like super big deal of it about it on social media, and like Christians were just like." Getting into heated arguments in the, comments and all this other stuff and everything. I was like, okay, yeah, it happened in like on a world stage, you can say, but at the end of the day, we as Christians, we're just gonna get mocked, like you guys said.
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, it's something that's gonna happen and it's gonna keep happening, unfortunately. And then, I mean, yeah, it sucks that they did that, in front of like so many people who are actually, Christian and believe in God and believe in Jesus. But it was crazy. I was actually looking at Preston, my boy Preston Perry. I've mentioned him a couple times already. He went on live on Instagram Live and was talking about it. He's like, he wanted to address it to a lot of people, and then he said, "Yeah, you guys are over here getting outraged, And he's like, "Yeah, you can get outraged, but you guys are just getting outraged, go on social media, complain about it, and then do nothing." He's like, instead of like just complaining and doing nothing, go out there and actually evangelize, like talk to people about like who God is, and things like that, and like evangelize, because you guys are just like criticizing the people who were, who made it, who put it together, and they were doing all this other stuff, like, they're like, the, part of the LGB, stuff like that. So they don't really know about God about that much. He's like, just go out there, just put your phones down, go out there, evangelize, and actually do something about it, to spread his name, basically, he was saying, because everyone's like keyboard warrior, like they say.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they just complain about everything, and they don't do anything. They just sit at home and just complain all day.
I'll say mainly, I would say a lot of us are like not like that, right? That we go online and we want to type all these things because we were mad, but like it's just easier for people. It's easier to just type something and then just try to let it out that way, instead of actually working on like, okay, going outside and evangelizing, because that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder than just sitting down, take your phone out, type some message, and then you feel relieved. You're like, oh, I did my part. But it's not enough.
But then I think that's also contributing to the problem. Once you're out here adding those comments on social media, I think some people get like a let's just say they feel better about it, that you're offended. So if they know that you're offended, then they get a kick out of it. So it's like they're gonna keep doing it, and then they see you react that way, and then it's just kind of just a cycle, And
Also, like trolling exists.
yeah,
So
exactly. And then some people like trolling because they like seeing the reaction. They, like I said, they get like a little kick out of it. Oh, it's funny. I'm gonna ruin their day, And instead of that, you can just kind of I guess, keep it more towards yourself and actually try to do something about it.
Yeah, I agree. Besides that, the Olympics. I don't know what else. I just been, listening to new music out there. No Big Deal released his album. I listened to that. It's pretty good. Forrest Frank released an album as well. Listening to that, it's pretty good. You told me that what is it? Tyler Bristle.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mhm.
He released an album. I
On
listened to it
Friday. Yeah.
Friday. I listened to some songs, probably like 2 songs so far. It's not bad, you know,
Yeah.
pretty good.
I like 1 or 2 songs on it too.
Yeah, yeah.
It was more, I guess, because everyone kind of likes their own type of music. So I mean, I like 2 out of what is like I think 9 songs he has on there.
Oh, okay.
You know, I try to listen to all of them, but everyone has their own taste.
I feel like some of these new songs will be on the Spotify account that we shared. Has it been shared yet or no?
No.
Playlist.
Once the previous podcast goes up, it's
It
gonna
goes
go
on there.
live,
Okay.
and you guys can check it out from the Instagram link. It's gonna have a link tree, and then you should be able to find that, and then just listen to the what we're listening to, you know, and things like that. So
So once this episode comes out, it should be.
it should be up
Yeah,
already. So
okay.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Alright.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be.
So what media I've been consuming is I can't really remember anything I've watched this week except Caleb Hammer with Elvis. Cause yeah. But I've been reading Jeanette McCurdy's memoir and I really enjoy it. I'm almost finished with it. I know that's not Christian, but I just really enjoy reading people's stories, I think. Because she has a really painful one, but yeah. That's really all the media I've consumed.
For the people who don't know, she's the person from Sam and iCarly.
iCarly. She's
Sorry,
Sam
yeah.
from iCarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the book title. It was like.
I'm glad my
Glad
mother
Mo-
died.
Yeah. Did she
Yeah.
actually die?
Yeah. I mean, her mother was kind of abusive.
Her mom was alive when she made the show.
Yes. So Jeanette's a childhood star, as we know. And what essentially happens is her mom is really abusive throughout her childhood and even in her adulthood. And Jeanette doesn't really realize it until she has to deconstruct it after her mother's death because her mom dies of cancer when she's about 21. And so the book is essentially her deconstructing the fact that she put her mom on a pedestal.
Mm.
I'm not at the end yet, but I assume she's glad that her mother died. So,
Sounds
I
like.
mean,
it.
yeah, I think the title kind of says it.
yeah.
Spoiler alert.
And I'm kind of late on the train because I think people read the book 2 or 3 years ago when it initially came out, but I just got a Kindle like 2 months ago, so bear with me. I'm catching up.
No, yeah. I was actually you talking about that just brought to mind. I saw this video. You know how everyone, all the media and everything, going back to the Olympics, how they were saying like, oh yeah, you know, it wasn't meant to be the Last Supper representing the Last Supper. It was supposed to be like the Greek gods and Dionysus, whatever it is, you know, thingy majiggy. But actually, I've seen a lot of channels go through and saying actually the organizers and people who were in that like section of it, you can say, they themselves compared it to the Last Supper and like, look, the New Testament is gay now or something like that. They were saying. I was like, whoa, what the heck?
That's crazy.
Like they actually, you know, they come up with receipts, you know, about that, and there was a lot of I saw this dude. I don't know if you guys seen him on TikTok. His name is Dan Magellan or McClellan.
It rings
something
a
like that.
bell.
I think you've seen him if you've been on like Christian TikTok. You can say he's like this scholar or whatever about the Bible and everything, and then the way he presents things is like very obviously scholarly way. So it's more just human thought and just logic and trying to disprove things in the Bible and stuff like
Is
that.
it who I think it is?
It's like this white dude, and then he just talks to the camera like really close. He's like, yeah, in the Bible this happens, so we can see, you know, he himself was making the argument saying like, yeah, you guys are, you know, reading too much into it. It's actually about this, you know, they base it off of this person, like, you know, the secular part of it instead of the Last Supper. And then it was just like, if you guys are listening to like Bible scholars on TikTok or anything like that, or Instagram or whatever, just make sure, go through their videos, see how they are, you know, what doctrine they are preaching about or talking about. He's very interesting person. He calls himself a Christian scholar, but he just studies Christianity. It doesn't mean that he himself is Christian, because all of his stuff, the stuff that he says, it's not like Christian at all. It's kind of like makes it seem, he puts it a certain way, where it twists it and everything. It's just like, please don't. Yeah.
Use discernment.
Yeah. But besides that, we watched the movie Sunday about this spy. Was it something Argyle on Apple TV?
No, it wasn't even. What was it? Yeah, it was about
Agent,
a spy.
Agent
She was a
Argyle.
spy.
She like writes
Yeah.
books, and the spy came to life. I don't know. I was doing laundry.
It was a long movie.
It was so long.
Yeah.
I'm anti 2-hour movie.
It was like 2 hours, but
2
I
hours?
liked the movie. It had twists and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, really? I didn't expect it. So
So she was in a coma. She was writing a book about her past
okay,
life.
She was in a
okay.
coma?
Whoa,
Oh, my
whoa,
bad.
dude, just
No
spoiled
spoilers?
it,
Mind
bro.
y'all, I was there.
I was trying to explain.
Oh
He's gonna have
my
to put
gosh,
spoiler alert.
dude.
Spoiler alert.
I gotta go
Spoiler.
rewatch it, I guess.
It's okay.
You guys
didn't
didn't
know.
want to watch that.
Now you know.
Thank you. See? So helpful.
Oh man. Okay. Besides that, spoiler. You guys have you consumed anything or anything like that? You guys?
I mean, I have just over the past few days. Sometimes it takes me a while to like finish a podcast or something. I was watching. I keep watching him, George Django. It's my go-to podcast. I like it because he's very honest. He'll be like, just straight up like open book. He'll say if he's going through something, he'll admit it. He's like, hey, I'm not 100%. Like, he's a Christian, but he's also going through his process, and he's being honest to the public and like growing, alongside. And he just recently had a talk with this woman, this older lady. Her name's Barbara O'Neill. And the thing she like talks about is about clean eating, and it just interested me because I like those topics. So that's what I listened to this past few days. Yeah.
Or the same old.
Queen's Gambit.
I actually finished it.
Suits.
I already finished the Queen's Gambit. Shocker in the end, right after watching it 4 times.
Is this your 5th round?
No.
Did she win
this
yet?
time right now, it was. Did she win? What do you mean?
Who's the queen?
Trying to spoil the things over
Did she
here.
win?
Well, I guess I kind of don't want to spoil it, but the Queen's Gambit, the reason why is because she develops her game to become, which is it's like a type of way to play. It's an opening, you can call it, which is opening is how you start the game. So depending on what piece you start with, there's a specific opening like name that they have it. So she ends up just kind of just building up to it and becomes a pretty impressive player in the show. And I enjoy chess, and I kind of study it. So, hopefully one day I can be a pretty decent chess player.
Do you know how to play chess?
Yes, I do.
I almost
Yeah.
burped into the mic. Sorry.
One of my art teachers, shout out Mr. Graham, he put me on chess senior year. Yeah. While taking Art 3 in his class. Yeah. He kind of just one day said, hey, you want to play chess? Like I had heard about chess, and like I had like, I guess played it, but it wasn't to that extent. So he was just like, hey, you want to play chess? And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then I lost, and I was like, well, dang, I guess I got to get better. And then that whole day, after school, after my basically after that day, I kind of just studied it and watched videos and saw how it worked. What you do with the pawns, with the bishops, with the knights, and all that stuff. Like a couple openings, and then the next day I came back and I was like, hey, let's do a rematch. And then from that point, I beat him, and then I kept trying to get better and better, and then
I don't know
eventually.
how to play. I need to be taught.
No, it's pretty relatively easy. It's just more about memorization. I think that's the hardest part for me. Or reading notation, because basically each square has a name, and every move has a name. So there's letters this way and then numbers up and down. So you can read it off books, which that's what a lot of people do. Once they get like at a decent level, you can read and basically just practice them in your head. And then that's kind of what I try to do. Kind of keeps me occupied at work too. Kind of just listening to videos like that. But yeah, I started going against other students, and slowly I got better and better. And now guys at work also play chess. They're pretty good players. I will not lie. I am not a very good speed chess player, but they are pretty good. So it's kind of what I just do. And yeah, I've been watching Suits because I stopped watching. Well, I think a year ago. I stopped at season 5, but I kind of wanted to pick it back up just because I guess it kind of gives me something to do after work. And yeah, season 3, episode 1. I've been kind of just watching nonstop. So that's kind of what I've been doing. That's my week. Yeah,
that's good. All right, pretty good week, pretty good, solid week. You guys can say.
Any other current events that are going around right now?
I don't know. I just, some other media that I've consumed. I just be watching in the background when I'm at work, or just here when I was building a shelf. I'll just, listening to what's his name? Cliff. Cliff
Necto.
They pronounced it. I was watching this podcast with this other dude who's I'll look up his name. I can't remember. He's just like a wealthy dude.
KBD podcast. Is it the Armenian dude?
Yeah, the PD.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, podcast one. I watched that one with him. Cliff. If you guys don't know about Cliff, check it out. He has very solid doctrine. All his videos and everything is pretty
solid.
Good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well knowledge.
Yeah. So I was watching that interview with him. I haven't finished it yet. I got like an hour in or something. It's kind of long that he has. Just talking about Christianity and how how it is and how he confronts people at what he does at the universities and things like that. And it's pretty interesting, you can say. Saw some videos about why Islam is wrong. pretty good, solid arguments.
We don't think that's funny.
No.
I was just thinking because it's kind of crazy. It sounds kind of crazy why Islam is wrong, but it's something that. Yeah.
It's good to get informed in that type of stuff.
Yeah.
What'd you learn?
So, they're saying it was like they said 3 main points. I don't remember all of them, but I know that he said that basically what happened was there's this law, and it says in the Quran basically that let me go back. Actually, he said that Islam came from a place of you can say to feed the man. They came from a place of perversion, basically, because he said when Jesus came, he was spreading good news. It changed the world completely, morally, and how to treat your neighbor, how to be a good person, basically, right? But when Muhammad came, literally he started getting followers, and the fruit of that was war. That's where the what's it called,
are you mentioning the Crusades?
The Crusades?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically that it just started war, and it was killing left and right, and spreading his religion around. But when Jesus came, it was just it wasn't war. It wasn't killing people. It was like love your neighbor. God came to die for your sins and things like that. So that was one of the main points that they were saying. And then also that that when talking about started from a lustful place, that when they were fighting, the Arabs took in prisoners, and it said there was a law. They said they were worried we don't want to get with married women. They were afraid of getting with married women. And then Muhammad said, God told me that you guys can't get with married women, but the prisoners and your slaves and your servants, you can. So he was basically saying, hey, just do whatever you want, basically.
Mm.
So it's just like, it's interesting contrast of it, you know. Yeah.
I don't know how true it is because I don't know too much about it. But I was hearing this talk. Andrew Tate was saying something about why he doesn't like, or why he thought like the Bible or Christians were boring, was because you can only have one wife. And he's like, oh, he's Muslim, and I'm not sure if it says it that they are allowed to have multiple wives.
I'm not exactly sure about the contents of the Quran because I'm gonna be honest, I have not read it. But I do know that traditionally speaking, one of the reasons why
It's
they're
accepted.
it's accepted for them to have 4 wives, it actually goes back to that concubine point of like there was so much warfare and all the men were killed off, so what do we do with all these women?
Mhm.
I believe that is the historical reason why, and that is also why it is so accepted.
Mhm.
It's like fine, you can have multiple. I mean, it still happens in countries today. You can have multiple.
You know, that's funny actually that you mentioned the concubines, because actually in the Bible, right, there is many characters in the Bible that had concubines and they had kids with them. But the thing about it is, it never really says that God
Permits.
that. Like he wants that, because he doesn't want that. Most of the time that it happened was because of like Elvis was saying, you know, the perversion of man, or the decision of man to have you know, these children against God's will. Because for instance, Abraham, when he had his concubines and he had children with them, it wasn't God telling him sleep with them and have babies with them, because he had a promise for him with Sarah, his wife, and then his wife told him to sleep with the concubines. It wasn't really God telling him. But I mean, to keep peace in his marriage and everything, he had to listen to his wife and do that so that they could have peace. But yeah, it never, in Christian, like in the Bible, it never really says that that's all right to have multiple wives. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the Bible, there's a lot of stuff in the Bible that people just like, oh, well, they used to do all this stuff, like you
Because
said.
because
right?
they used to do it.
Yeah, they used
Yeah.
to do it. It's just, we have to think of the Bible as like a historical, like a document. It was just telling what was happening at that time, and it was recording what happened, you know, basically.
Yeah, like it'll state facts about like the person's life, because it won't say that they're perfect. It will show their flaws too.
Yeah.
Like David, like everything he did was not perfect, but he did have a heart that was
After God, looking after God or
Yeah,
something like that.
was
God's
after
heart.
God's
God's
heart.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah. So like for him, he had multiple wives, but like we said, it's not something that God really wants for us, right? Yeah.
Or he basically explicitly approves of it, you know,
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. You know, just going off that, I don't know why Mormons are polygamous. I know they're moving away from it because, you know, everything that's happening and stuff. But they like to use the Bible as an example, the Old Testament. But if you see in the New Testament, I was actually reading the requirements, you know, to be a leader in the church. What Paul was saying, he said, if you want to be a bishop, right, you have to be wed, and you have to be basically have your one wife and be in good standing. That's what he said. Like, that's one of the requirements of it. So it's basically saying, just have one wife, you know, just be monogamous, basically. And it's just kind of crazy to think about, you know.
I feel like in a way, there's times where like, I've heard this is your marriage, your relationship with your wife is a comparison of your relationship with God, because it says in the Bible, treat your wife like you would treat, you know, the church, you know, in respect. You want to treat her right. You don't want to make her upset. You want peace, right? So in that comparison with your wife is like a relationship with God, because you can't see God, right? I also heard this. Faith is the things that you don't see, because if you see it, it's not faith. So you don't see God, right? A lot of people want to see God, but if you see God, then it's not faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically your wife, you can see her. So think about, if you can love your wife that you can see, then it's harder to love God that you can't. But it's all like connected. And yeah, that's my take on that.
No, I agree. I think later on we could talk about relationships and everything, and more about us and stuff like that. So it's coming. We just gotta brew it up. Probably bring a guest or something who's more knowledgeable, who has more experience.
Oh, okay.
Obviously,
Okay.
who's married already.
Okay.
You
Used to say they have to be married to be more knowledged.
That's tea.
I'm kidding.
Okay. So now that we have you here, I'm just gonna ask, how coming from like an outside, perspective, that new into like the church and everything, how do you feel coming in? Like, what's your experience so far? You can say.
Well, for those at home, I've not been a Christian for a very long time. I mean, I've been learning for a very long time, but I would not say that I gave my heart to Jesus until about October of last year, and it is currently July 31st. But I would say, like, what's truly accelerated my walk these last few months is being able to go to church so often. Because when I started back last year in the fall, it was just like maybe once a month, whenever I could. And then there's also a language barrier. I don't speak Spanish, but I attend a predominantly Hispanic church. So that also kind of got in the way, because I would get in my own head about a lot of things, but that's neither here nor there. But a long-winded way to say that I really, really enjoy church. It's kind of like my reset. And we go so much, but it doesn't feel like we go so much. But that's kind of how it's supposed to be. And I really appreciate the resources that are offered to me.
Okay, I know like you growing up in like, not growing Christian, in a not Christian home. And it was like your family is Islam? Muslim? Sorry about that.
Wow. You better get canceled. Wow.
In
Oh
the
my
comments.
He was at
gosh.
6.
Thank you.
In the
4 years
comments.
knowing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About to be 5. Don't even know the
My
difference.
family's Islam.
Wow.
It's crazy. Keep going.
Okay. I just want to know, like, how did you get the courage or boldness to be able to, declare or state that you are now a Christian? Like, what in your heart made you be like, maybe this is something that I should look, at this path, because you didn't grow up that way, right? What was that spark of interest or that initial move towards
Such a wonderful question that I have an hour-long answer to, but I'll keep it short because this isn't a testimony episode. But, I mean, Lipscomb planted the seed for sure, but I would say there was a lot of fear associated with me accepting that, and I'm pretty sure even he knew along the way, because I started deconstructing the faith that I grew up in 2019, actually when I met you guys. That's when I was actively deconstructing. And I did not identify with any faith for a very long time. I knew I loved God, but I was kind of confused. I was just like, if I accept Christianity, I lose my family, right? And it's been a really, really long journey. And then finally last year, I would say like my prefrontal cortex developed. So then I was like, some things really need to like change. Like seriously. And I think every year before last year, I would just constantly spiral and not know what to do. And I had very bad coping mechanisms. There was things I was doing that I shouldn't have. And I was like, I need something more. And so that's when I found God. And then I was like, okay, well, how do I do this? This is like really, really hard. And I would just say, like, for all of the really difficult things that I've had to tell my parents about pertaining to myself, pertaining to really everything, I've had to sit and ask God for courage for like weeks on end. And then suddenly it finally happens. It clicks, and then I'm not scared anymore. And that's kind of what happened that day. I did it. And it was the easiest yes I ever gave because I was being interrogated for like 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very, honestly, I had not heard that before. That's very interesting because, like you said, like it was a moment of like, you used to have fear and then you got to the moment and then you felt like that boldness that you could say it and like almost like a pressure or a load off your chest.
No,
kinda.
exactly. That was
Yeah.
like that Sunday that I told my dad everything.
Yeah.
The second he was like, "So you believe that Jesus is God?" And I said, "Yes." There was like a weight lifted off of my
That's
shoulders.
amazing because
Yeah.
I know exactly what that
Yeah.
feels like. Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a little small question too.
Yeah.
Not to make it, like you said, like a little testimony episode, but spiritually, what moment did you know I'm a Christian now?
October of last year, for sure, I would say. I mean, there were little hints of it in college where I was like, wow, I really need to learn about this God of Christianity that's like so kind and welcoming, right? But I would say like October of last year, I remember it so vividly because it was fall break. So I was actually home from work and I was just scrolling through because I was getting a lot of Christian content. And, you know, I had only had one experience with the Holy Spirit prior to this. And so I didn't really know what it felt like for God to be surrounding you or around you. And so I saw this video. It was actually really interesting because it was this guy going around interviewing people on the street. And he was trying to just talk to them about God and evangelize them. And then he asked this girl if she was Christian. And she was like, yes. And they just got to talking. And he was like, do you want to commit your life to Christ again? Because she was already a Christian. But she was like, I need like help. And so he like says the prayer with her about like accepting Jesus into your heart, whatever. And then that's when I realized, like, as I was watching that video, I was like, I feel the Holy Spirit right now. So then I did it too. And then here I am.
Well, just like that.
Appropriate usage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, producer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Co-producer.
And then right there, you can kind of see like the impact social media can have towards
Yeah.
people. You know, we can definitely be a great influence to people, and right at the right moment, that's when that came up. You said it was on TikTok?
Yeah, it was on TikTok. Like social media had such a big impact on my journey growing even quicker because I learned so many things that I didn't learn in school.
So there we can see it was just like it's just so important to what we do in social media can definitely influence someone to either go on the, I guess you can call it like the God's path, or like kind of like stray away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine that video didn't exist. Imagine that creator didn't ask that question to that female, or something changed, right? How, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about, like one slight little change could have just kind of just changed, I guess, I'm not going to say the outcome, because the outcome would have definitely came in, but it would have just probably just, I
It
guess,
delayed
delayed it a little bit more. But yeah,
My path was already really slow, so can't delay it even further.
right. But you know, God's perfect. God knew that day you were going to be in spring break.
Fall break.
Oh,
October.
Fall break. Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Fall break.
I was laying
Fall
in bed.
break.
And I was
And
like,
then just
it's
scrolling
time.
through there, and it's just,
Mhm.
boom. There you
Yeah.
go.
Anywhere, anytime.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say I think the timing is perfect of everything. You know, always hindsight. It just you look back and it's like, okay, that's the way it had to happen. You know, and then you see, you know, if you going through something during that time, you're like, why am I going through all this? Or you know, why things are happening? It's just, you know, those things are happening are to prepare you and you know for that timing, and he just preparing you and growing you to the point that you know you are here now, right? So it's just pretty amazing to see.
I would also like to say to hear that too is like encouragement for all the, you know, the smaller or any Christian content creators, because every piece of content that is put out there, God can use it in any way. You never know who it can impact. You know, us, for example, this is, you know, starting out small, and we don't know to what extent it can reach somebody. Maybe it's one person, maybe it's two, but like just like it reached you, that person never knew it was going to reach you, right? you probably never thought you would see a video and then it impact you that way. But it's like you said, you felt the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit works as it wants to. It's not really based on like we are doing this with our power. No, it's really the Holy Spirit through the content of Christians putting out videos out there and everything. So that's encouragement for everybody to keep going, because you never know who's going to impact.
And for sure, I think like especially since like y'all started this thing, not necessarily the podcast, but like y'all started the social media platform last fall. That's why even though I couldn't really do much at that time because there's still parts of me I was hiding, but that's why I was like, y'all just do it. Like there's people like me, just do it. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that because one of my close friends, she basically, without giving her business out, went through exactly what I went through, except a few years prior. And I did not know that because I had grown up with her. I didn't think that she was just like me until she posted something about it on TikTok, basically talking about Jesus. And then I reached out to her. I DM'd her. This was August of last year. And I was like, you're the first person I've told, but I mean, obviously apart from Elvis, that I'm a Christian. And I thought that we should connect. And then we're like this close ever since. And she's been really helpful during this time. So yeah, it's all about just one person. You're going to touch one person. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we actually started just posting quotes and stuff on Instagram, on TikTok. We reached a lot of people. A lot of people liked it. But we just moved into the podcast because I really felt it, in my heart. There's a lot of things that I want to do to spread God's name. It's just, it's like a yearning, like, okay, I need to do this. And God has been, letting me know through the Holy Spirit, like, okay, do this to reach people. This is like what we're all supposed to do, right? This is like our form of evangelizing, you can say, social media.
Exactly.
Right? So it's just, a lot of people are doing it, because it's going to reach their different audiences. Hopefully we're going to reach, the right audiences as well. That's going to, impact them. And then it's just something that, we really want to, keep doing. And I know it's just the beginning, but I can feel it, it just
it's going to be something great.
Yeah. God
willing.
Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, everybody, that is doing these different things, preaching out in the world, making videos, sharing quotes, posting quotes, this and that. We're all working towards the same goal, God's will of preaching. We're all just doing it in different ways, but we're all really just working together basically in this, hoping for the same thing, hoping to impact people's lives, never knowing who could be that person behind the screen, who could be, also touched by the Holy Spirit, impacted their lives.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want, as we grow more and more, I definitely want to do, community outreach, get some, things going on, events and stuff like that. But, that's later on, to actually reach people, in real life and stuff, not just through a screen. But we do want to reach, as many people as possible, bring, the good news, let people know about God and, things like that.
Something that you've experienced new as being a Christian that you probably never experienced before being a Christian, like any new experiences, any new new things or that you've seen.
Yeah, new insights into something that like, oh, it works like this, or like, oh, it works like that, basically.
That's a really difficult question. I would just say the fact that you can feel God was really confusing to me for a really long time. You don't feel God when you're Muslim. I mean, you might. I didn't. So just the fact that you could be praying and then suddenly burst into tears because he's there and you're there and then y'all are talking except you're not talking, and it's just mind-blowing to me. Even though I don't really express that much, but it's just that's the most poignant thing that I could think of, because that didn't exist for me years ago.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of ways, sometimes, like, I'm the type of person I've never actually thought about like that, like being in a point where like you don't feel God, because I've seen people talk about that, like, oh, I don't feel God near, this and that, but I feel like in a way for for us as Christians that we do feel God near, it's not going to be like that always, obviously, but coming from a place of like you said, probably like in your life you never felt him before. Now we're very privileged. I feel like that's a privilege. Yeah, not everybody's in the club, you know. Hey,
Yeah, if you
but,
know, you know.
but everyone's invited. That's the thing. Everyone's invited, but not everybody's in it. You know, that's that.
Not everyone RSVP'd.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's good. Do you see any other differences between the two when you were, more into Islam than Christianity? Like, have you seen other differences of like how people act or how, different things you see now, basically?
I would just say, at least this is my experience. I'm not speaking for all Muslims, just a disclaimer. But when you're Muslim, God is very far from you. He's high up on a pedestal. You cannot reach him. You cannot question him. You can pray to him 5 times a day, but you can't really question him. So the fact that God could really be your friend, or what really touched me, this is kind of what got me thinking at Lipscomb. It was that passage about how God was telling Abraham to just walk with him. I was like, God could just tell you to walk with you, and then all you have to do is listen. It's crazy. So I don't have to follow 5,000 rules. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
That's what deconstructed my faith in Islam. TBH.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, even through us like Christians, God is more accessible, but then there's a lot of other people who are different denominations and things who put like more restrictions on it as well. So it's just about just knowing that if you pray, he's listening, he's always there, even though you might feel like he's not, he's there. You don't have to like how some people like, oh, if you're wearing makeup and all this other stuff, you can't, you're not doing what's right. And he's always there, no matter what. Unfortunately, if we sin or do something, he's always there for us. He's just waiting on us to talk with him and everything.
I would say just that like you started discovering how like when you used to be a Muslim, like they have all these rules and stuff like that because it's like their way of trying to be or trying to reach God. But then you read that verse, right? Like, oh, God told Abraham he'll walk with him or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like it's more personal than the person trying to do things to be able to reach God. Instead, it's God talking to us. So it's like it's more personal than just doing things to try to please him. Yeah.
Because there's nothing you can do to make God love you more, nothing you can do to make him love you
Exactly.
less. And that was really hard for me to wrap my head around.
It's hard. Yeah.
I could literally talk for an hour about what things were really hard for me to wrap my head around, and then finally my eyes are open and my ears can hear.
Yeah. It's very good.
So I think this is a good stopping point. We're recording for a little bit. Okay, say.
Time is
Do you guys have any?
47 p.m.
I guess since we got the tradition going and everything, we could finish off the podcast with the Christian pickup line.
Trying to steal my thunder.
Let's go.
We'll call it the section of just bad Christian pickup lines because when are they ever good? Come on, let's be honest.
Mine have been pretty
Would
solid.
they ever work?
I've never been picked up by one.
It's
so.
crazy because I actually found this.
You want to get picked up by one?
Oh, you want to get picked up?
You
want to
get picked up by one?
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
He's literally right here.
Wow, that's crazy.
messed
So you don't want to pick me up with one?
That's crazy.
Dude, honestly,
It's crazy.
I would just take that ring back. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, if you guys use that pickup line, let us know, please, in the comments. We want to see.
Trust me, it works. Trust me. Trust.
That's crazy because I
Trust.
found this website saying Christian pickup lines guaranteed to keep you single for the rest
That's
of your life.
Guaranteed to keep you in your Paul era.
Guaranteed.
See, look, it's not about a pickup line. It's about the person, right? Because if they're into you, there's very few things you can say that can mess it up. Because you still can't mess it up. Don't get me wrong. You can always mess
You
it up.
can't mess up God's will. If she was meant for
Well,
you.
That's the pickup line right there. It's God's will.
I think I beg to differ because I think our decisions can still sway it.
Oh no,
You know?
for sure.
Right?
I was actually either reading, and then I heard or listening to someone talk about it, and then they were saying God respects our decisions. Just how if people are in a bad marriage or something, He will respect the decisions. To separate and things like that. So God will respect your decisions, but doesn't mean that the decision you're making is the right one.
It's good.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it talks. Paul talks about it. He wants what God really wants in a marriage, in a relationship, is peace. So if you're getting together with somebody that is not right with you, you're not gonna have that peace. God knows way ahead. He knows 10 years ahead of your marriage. He knows everything, right? But if that person, it's your choice. But if He knows that person is not gonna be good for you, then it's not His will, because His will is for us to have peace. So, just to get back to the Christian pickup line, she said really good. Actually, I would consider that a pickup line. Hey, it's God's will. Let's get together.
I say?
But
I think there is a pickup line close to that.
I think so.
Could be wrong.
But she said it better. Okay, so it says, I like this one. This one sounded the most like natural, or at least not as cheesy. Is it a spiritual gift that you look so good?
Period.
Oh, hey.
Hey, where's our sound?
Hey.
well,
The cheering.
second
Producer.
producer, what's going
crazy.
on?
My
Wow.
I
apologies
think
for
it's
his
too late.
behavior.
I think it's too late. I think he realized that it could have been a better pickup line.
I guess the
Maybe he
producer
just
didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
like it. That's
Mm.
crazy.
So, guys, we'll come to an end. I will say, if you guys like the podcast, subscribe, comment, rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or anywhere else that you can find a podcast in, and then just follow along as we talk into more stuff. We're gonna get more into like relationships, what it means, to date, in a godly way. You can say marriage, even though we're not, married yet. But yet, yeah, it's coming. Yeah, we're just gonna talk a whole bunch of other different topics and different opinions and stuff that
We'll be having more special guests along the line too. Like you said, some married couples, maybe some pastors, maybe some other people.
some counselors, some leaders,
some elders, some wise. Get some wisdom out of everybody that we can. We're here to learn. We don't know everything, and we're all here to learn from each other. And yes.
But if I'm your favorite special guest, comment down below and I'll come back every week.
Comment down below that you want her back. If not, she's never coming back.
Yeah, she's never
One-time thing. If we get no
I get banned.
comments, she's out.
I'm not
Okay.
even sound.
Just say she should just stick to producing.
1,000 likes
Listen.
or she is never coming back.